Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So this is our story map project. So at first we made a documentary that's like about 10 to 15 minutes, 11 minutes, and then we made a leaflet. So at first we decided to print out the leaflet so everyone has one copy so we can refer it onto the map. But there's something wrong with the printer, so we can't. So basically what we're doing right now is like we're showing the video and this map at the same time, so we can pause. We're gonna pause very often to show you this map. So like.
I mean the location.
Yeah, the locations. We're
story that we're talking about.
So I hope you guys enjoyed our documentary.
Summit is successfully finished in Hangzhou, one of the oldest and most beautiful cities in China. People and natives around the world greatly fascinated by the beauty and passion.
Is it loud enough? I think it's like. Can you plug it in? I think it's a projector.
It's on the projector.
You know those flat lights?
The group of 20 Hangzhou Summit has successfully finished in Hangzhou, in one of the oldest and most beautiful cities in China. People and natives around the world greatly fascinated by the beauty and passion of the city. However, beside all those wonderful photos and videos from the press, what the G20 really brings to Hangzhou people? Is it really as amazing as all those mentioned in the news? What do the people think? To find out the answer, we went out to school and interviewed with some locals.
The first place we went to is Zijingwei Road, and that is where we met Mr. Sung. About a 12-minute walk around the school campus, we came to a narrow road next to a BMW showroom. This is a bit busy road. It links the construction area around the school to the inner city. There were a lot of scooters and pedestrian pathway cannot be distinguished with the road where vehicles passes. The atmosphere seems hectic and the conditions are not very decent due to pollution and fumes from all sorts of vehicles. In front of us, we met a group of 3 hawkers selling street food while walking down to our destination. They were all elderly people and they are all selling the same thing in all 3 stalls. We tried to approach an old hawker, but he ignored us at first. But after ordering some food from him, we were able to talk to him while he was preparing our food.
We asked the hawker a few related questions while he was preparing food for us. And from this we found out that during G20, he went back home because business was bad during that time. After G20, he felt not too much difference. He had kids and they're working out. He also got a conversation revolving around the topic of the hawker's career, and from there we found out that he worked as a hawker for a few decades. It is a very difficult job, and he wakes up at 2 a.m. and goes home at 9 p.m. every day without rest. Sometimes he goes back home to take a shower and goes back to work again.
After our conversation, we asked Mr. Sung whether we can take a photo. He said no to our request because he said in case we upload some of his photo onto the internet, he will get caught by the authorities. We were quite confused at that time, but after we went to the school, we did some research on the internet. We find out that it's simply impossible to get a license without a store or place of business in China. If you don't have a license, it is simply illegal to sell things on the street. But it seems that in China, such a big country, hawkers are very difficult to be regulated, and that we saw many people actually consuming hawkers' goods. It is something that the population tolerates as long as it doesn't disturb the public. Therefore, this law may as well be considered as the gray area of law. Okay, so basically this is the first man we interviewed.
So now I'm going to pass our story mapping map to you guys so that you know where it is. So this one, this is Mr. Sun's stall, and this is food. So you can see it. It's not far away. It's around a 10-minute walk.
So the blue building is the BMW showroom, and this is where Mr. Sun is around. So Mr. Sun is owner of a mobile food stall, and he has been like making breakfast for around 20 years for the pedestrians, like going to work every day. And then he said his business was like greatly impact, so he said he didn't make much money during the 20 period. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Another interesting resident we interviewed was the owner of a laundry. We interviewed her during our first field trip. Well, it is a small and old laundry in the local residential region. She was very friendly, and she told us that she went to the Yellow Mountain during the G20 period. She claims that she chose to visit the Yellow Mountain because there's a government-supported scheme which provides aid for travel expenses.
She did some mountain climbing and tried some local cuisine. She also said that her trip was not satisfying because there are too many visitors. She said that her business was greatly impacted before and during the summit because a lot of migrant workers have gone home. However, after the G20 summit, everything is back to normal and she was able to get her business back. She agreed that most citizens were not related to the summit, therefore they are not actually affected. Continue walking from the Hawker's place, we have arrived to a crop.
Okay, so this is the second, the first lady we interviewed. So she owns us, so we don't have a photo actually.
Who's here?
Oh yeah, I know it's in the video, but it's not here. So she runs a very small laundry. So she just actually went to Yellow Mountain during G20 because like the government is kind of covering the travel expenses. So she thinks that the G20 affected her profit a lot, so she can't actually earn money during that time because the store, the laundry is basically closed.
Junction. Turn left and there are two streets facing each other. Cross the road and we've arrived to the second street. There are a bunch of shops there and we arrived at a small shop that sells ice cream. We met the shop owner, which is around his 30s. We asked him some questions regarding his work and views on the G20. He has been the owner of that shop for 4 years. He said that the G20 summit has affected his business. He has kids and there were no schools for his kids during G20. He said he personally doesn't like the G20, but when it comes to state affairs, he said it's good for the development of the country as a whole. In addition, he said that during G20 security is much more strict and police tend to come to the store often for license.
This interaction field trip,
So this is the third guy we interviewed, so he's Mr. Chen. So he is so far the most patriotic guy we ever interviewed. So he is saying that, okay, my business is so bad during that time, but G20 will benefit my country so much, so I love G20. So I think he's very patriotic and very interesting. So this is the third interview, which we found very interesting.
passed by a shop along the side of a sidewalk, which looked like a larger version of a hawker's cart, except it had a roof and had some other features in it as well. It sold a variety of things such as snacks, drinks, and magazines. And we bought some things from the shop and had a conversation with the shop owners. From our conversation, we found out that the shop was actually licensed and was allowed to stay during G20. However, because a lot of people left during G20, it was not beneficial to the business as there weren't as many passers-by who bought things from their shop. The shop itself was located next to a BMW company building, which probably was not too agreeable with the BMW company. And there weren't many restaurants nearby. So when we asked where the shop owners went to eat their food, they answered saying that they mostly would eat snacks that they owned or went down the street to nearby hawker cart. Our third interview went well. We interviewed a woman who was working at a laundry store, and she was there with her family at the time when we took the interview. We had a successful interview and had a long conversation, and from this conversation we learned some interesting things. For example, how the woman went to Huangshan during G20, and we also learned that at Huangshan there were a lot of people there throughout the 2-week period of G20, and it was too crowded for her and her family to do anything.
So I think, of course, the first interview was quite successful for me because we had a very long conversation. We talked about a lot of things like his career, his personal life, and G20. So, for my personal opinion, I think that his career is very hard compared to most of us because although he's just selling food, he has to do a lot of stuff. Like he has to wake up at 2 o'clock a.m. buy all the foods like supplies, he's gonna use materials to make the food. And then which made me think like, I think that career is very tiring and he looks very distressed. But however, like at the end of the conversation, he still put up a smile, a very friendly smile, which made me think maybe for him, he doesn't think that his career is very tiring or not rewarding because he had worked for like 20 years, so he had got a lot of experience and he met a lot of people. So I think for him, he may think that his career is very enjoyable and fruitful. So I think this is kind of perhaps like an art of perseverance, and he really inspired me a lot.
After talking to Mr. Chan, I think that he's pretty friendly by the way he talks. And so we talked about his business, some part of his life. But when we discussed about his views on G20, he suddenly becomes more sensitive and uncertain. And at one point, he tries to elude the conversation. When we consider his reactions, at the same time, we should bear in mind that he's just an ordinary citizen selling ice cream on the streets. It's normal for him to not know that much about G20, but the fact that these ordinary citizens provide so much for a state, for G20, but not actually understanding the meaning and effects of it, it's kind of despairing to me. Most citizens cannot really impart and express their views on state events. It's kind of made me and my group perplexed and confused. But somehow most people just understand the system and the way of the Chinese government, and despite being irrational or irritating most of the time, they just decided to comply and do their best and to treat it as everyday life. It's kind of like different. Conclusion: the interviews have been a great success. Not only have we collected information with a much more vivid and overt perspective on G20 and its impact, but more importantly, the stories of the people. It turns out that many ordinary Hangzhou Ren takes on a soft view on what the state government does. some still obtained a sense of sensitivity about such topics, although many wanted to be heard. But no matter what happened, most of them continued to fight for a living despite changes and challenges imposed by the state. And that, we think, imbues the essence of Hangzhou Red.